beep, beep. We're back with more NHS shenanigans and doodads from the network. Let's go.
And these are some of the things that we just don't have capacity to do. So people said that we should be tackling health inequalities training for everybody in the NHS, especially those within the LGBTQIA plus community. Totally agree that should be happening. That's really beyond our remit. The best that we can do is lobby and support the organisation in putting that on. I think that remit really sits within the patient equalities team and the LGBT health team. And we have connections with that team and will continue to work with them. People said that we should also be changing the language and definitions that are used within NHS England. I would love to be able to have that influence and power. Unfortunately, I don't, particularly around inclusive language, because it is one of the things that I will go on about a lot. So the best that we can do is we will continuously lobby the organisation to use more inclusive language, but it really isn't within our gift to be able to demand or put into place. To respond robustly to policy and practice changes that impact the treatment of LGBTQIA plus patients. Again, for us, particularly in NHS England, our focus is around our workforce. So we are a staff network that's lobbying for better inclusion for our own workforce. And if we kind of get that right, it would mean by default that that's going to have a positive impact on LGBTQIA plus patients. But again, this currently sits beyond our remit. And I think that kind of sits probably more with networks that are based in trusts, but we would definitely support in any way that we could. I've just mentioned about people wanting that sort of greater pastoral care and support. So we're kind of looking at that. But again, there'll be limitations around what we're able to offer. We can't offer counselling because we're not trained counsellors, and we definitely wouldn't be able to give advice around addiction issues. We would only be able to signpost in those particular situations, but there will be situations where we are able to deliver support. And then somebody else or several other people, and this came up again recently, wanting to make sure that there's mandatory training on not just LGBTQIA plus inclusion, but trans awareness, microaggressions, and other EDI related sessions. Again, not within my gift to be able to make the organisation do, but we are continuously lobbying around all of that stuff.
So there you have it. Here we go. Right, so just honest to God, tackling health inequalities training for all, especially within the LGBTQI plus community. Now, what Mel stated here is that they don't have any ability to influence any of this, but this is the sort of thing that came out of their staff survey. I'm trying to understand, tackle health inequalities training for all, especially within the LGBTQIA plus community. Right, so I'm desperately trying to think. Now, with the exception of the I, which is people with DSDs who have specific very individualized care needs, which I'm sure we absolutely deal with already. What the hell do they mean? How is an asexual any different from somebody who's normal? Come on, tell me, because I don't know. Do you know? I have no idea. What? Now I'm a gay man, right? I have health needs, certain ones. And I go in and go, here, play it up. And they deal with me. Why? What health needs do I have that are different? I don't know. What are they saying? That we have specific health needs like HIV/AIDS? Is that what they're talking about? Actually, that's something that affects everybody, and it affects heterosexuals at the moment more than it does homosexuals. I don't know what they're after here. Is it about specific needs for lesbians? What's specific? No, it doesn't mean any of that, does it? What does it mean? It means giving free rein to trans and non-binary. That's what it means. To have any surgeries they want, so the men can get the titty skittles and the women can mutilate their breasts and then everybody can mutilate their genitals. That's what it means. It's guff of the first order. And what can they do? Well, that's interesting. They can highlight the ongoing health inequalities. I'd like to see a list. But this sits within the remit of patient equalities team and LGBT health team. Hang on a sec, right? So we've now got another two groups. It's just surreal. They're like sort of twisted mutant rabbits. They're breeding. Patient equalities team and the LGBT health team. Right. Another team. What are they doing? Are they doing training? Are they encouraging outside people from outside the NHS to come and get involved with our nice little cozy #BeKind group of weirdos? Is that what they're doing? So in other words, they can't do anything about it, but they'll continue to maintain connection with the LGBT health team. Is it just one team, or is there multiple teams? Is there different teams in every trust? How many people are involved in these teams, and are these teams doing things on NHS time? It just gets better, doesn't it? Eh? It's just, how big is this boondoggle? We need a doge. They need doging. That's what they need. Right, what about this next one, which is a beauty? Change language and definitions used within NHS England with guidance available. Apparently Mel bangs on about this a lot. I wonder why Mel bangs on about this a lot. Could it be that she was responsible for the pregnant person training? I wonder. Go and have a look. Tell me, right? They want to change language. So in other words, they want to do away with the concept of sex altogether, so they can bring back their gender utopia. That's what they're doing. They thankfully don't have the power to do that, but obviously they're influencing. We continuously lobby on inclusive language. However, this is not within our power to change. Thank God. Thank God, because you and your cohort are insane. They continue to lobby about inclusive language and definitions. Right? I want to see the definitions. They've got to be around somewhere. And then they respond robustly to policy and practice changes that impact the treatment of LGBTQIA patients. For now, we are a staff network. For now, we are a staff network lobbying for better inclusion for our own workforce. This sits beyond our current remit. We support other teams and organisations for the advancement of patient care and best practice. Right, get your head around this, okay? So what they're saying is, for now, we are a staff network. They give it away in their very speech. She talks constantly about lobbying. This isn't a staff network, is it? It's just not. It's just not. This is an agitating lobby group at the heart of the NHS that we're paying for. It just gets worse. Then they want, this is what was asked by the staff survey, greater pastoral support tailored for LGBTQI colleagues, such as counselling, including addiction issues. What? What? Are you telling me that there are people with addiction issues? They better not be on the front line. We got some stoned bloke in surgery. I don't believe it. I think that there's probably people that do have addiction issues. What the hell has that got to do with their employer? Counselling service. They want the employer to provide all this. This has to stop. It's not only is it wickedly political, it's deeply and perversely therapeutic. Right? Committee members are not currently trained on giving pastoral support, no, but you think you're trained on giving psychosocial interventions. And then they want to ensure mandatory training on LGBTQI inclusion, trans awareness, microaggressions, and other EDI-related sessions. Here comes your critical race theory and your unconscious bias and all the other bullshit that comes with EDI and DIE. Can you see it yet? Please tell me you can. We continuously lobby on making training available. However, this is not within our power to instigate, which is really weird. Then what's the point of you? And who's qualified to do this training? The more we look, the darker it gets. Onwards, people. Onwards.
And, we're doing all of this stuff, all of that, all those action plans, all these bits of work that we're doing it. Why are we doing it? Well, let's look at our staff survey results, and that will tell you why it's really important that networks are active and are doing these pieces of work. So if we look at the staff survey results for NHS England, I provided a link. I suggest that you kind of go and have a look. It breaks it down by demographic. You just have to scroll through pages and pages. But if you look for the demographic breakdown towards the end of the document, you will then be able to see what it is like for people alongside the majority of the organisation. And so what those results show us is that trans and non-binary colleagues are having a worse experience than other colleagues. And then it's followed by LGB, but it definitely trans and non-binary. And obviously we all know the issue with ESR, the fact that our trans colleagues, even if they wanted to share that information, are not even able to at the moment. And, when we're talking about being in an organisation that's inclusive, where people can be themselves, where they're valued, psychological safety, all these stuff that we talk about in terms of EDI, if at the very basic level, you can't see yourself represented in the sort of demographic sharing stuff on an HR framework, then something's really wrong. I know we have real challenges around this. We don't own it. It's owned by the Department of Health and Social Care, and it's not on their list of priorities to change. I know it's complicated, but it's still an issue.
This is extraordinary. I mean, they're now moving on to the staff survey results, which I'll cover in more depth next month. Tomorrow. Oh, I really am losing the plot, folks. God help me. Buy me a coffee. Come be a warrior teacher. Keep me bloody going. And subscribe and like and share, please. Right? Staff survey results. Apparently, trans and non-binary people are getting a worse experience, followed by LGB. Right? Okay. So trans and non-binary. Why are they getting a worse experience? Do you think it's possible that lying about who you are, pretending you're something you are not, making demands that nobody gives a toss about, might make you more unpopular? I suppose it might be. That's like a bully at school moaning because nobody likes him. I mean, they're the worst bullies there are. So this is, we've been bullying people and they don't like us. Or it's possible that they're being bullied by somebody else, in which case it should be dealt with. But I doubt very much that they're getting a worse experience because they're all worried about their microaggressions. Has anybody not been watching the ridiculous up to no good trial on Twitter? You can see the degree of my minuscule grievance these people will take if they can. I mean, that bloke was keeping a list of microaggressions in a book, so he could add them all up as if they then become something and blame Peggy. Sandy Peggy. It's absolutely beyond me. So they're working on the basis that a self-reported survey says they're having a worse time. Are they? What's the matter, guys? Can't get the titty skittles? What's the matter, girls? Gay men not accepting you? Of course you're having a worse experience. You're pretending to be something you're not. Ugh. LGB, well, we're a whingy bunch anyway. That's not true. God knows. I haven't looked to the depth of it. But it's available if you want to go and have a look, Then begins. Right, and then we have to deal with psychological safety. Well, that's all that nonsense comes in then. But here's the interesting bit. The ESR, they're not recognised as trans and non-binaries on the ESR. Now, the ESR, for those that don't know, is the electronic staff record. In other words, they want to be able to falsify their sex and falsify who they are on the NHS electronic staff record. That's what they're calling for. Well, we can't influence it. It's owned by somebody else. Thank God. Right, so what essentially this LGBTQIA plus network is calling for is people to be able to falsify who they are on the official NHS record. The same as the GMC have been doing. Excuse me. Same as the GMC have been doing. And then we have to do psychological safety. And all this stuff we talk about, says Mel, EDI and DEI, that it's an unbelievably vile belief system. Well, that's enough for you to get your head round today, I think. There'll be more tomorrow, as usual. So please do buy me a coffee if you can. If you're enjoying the series, please help out. Remember, there's now a playlist on the YouTube channel. Please like, select, but most of all, let's share the hell out of this, because this needs to be on the news. It needs to be out there, folks. Well, at least that's what I think. But then I would say that, wouldn't I? Because I'm a narcissistic, attention-seeking twat. Off you pop, nutters. Bye.